A map is shown with a bunch of H's, L's, and lines on it. What does all this mean? Well, the H's represent an area of higher air pressure. Higher air pressure is generally associated with fair or good weather. Air is moving in a clockwise fashion away from the high pressure. The L's represent an area of lower air pressure. Lower air pressure is generally associated with cloudy or stormy weather. Air is moving in a counterclockwise fashion towards the low pressure. The blue lines with the points show the leading edge of colder air, so it is known as a cold front. The points show the direction the cold air is moving. The red lines with the rounded symbols are the leading edge of warmer air and is known as a warm front. Like the cold front, the rounded edges show the direction of air movement. A line having alternating cold and warm front symbols is a stationary front. This means there are two different air masses next to each other, but neither one is moving. A purple line with the cold and warm front symbols on the same side is called an occluded front. When this is present, it means the low pressure system is beginning to fade away. From these few basics, look at a map of current weather conditions. Can you predict what direction the wind is coming from on different parts of the map? What kind of weather is occurring based on the H and L pressure positions on the map?
In this illustration, we see a radar tower with two adjacent mountains. When the radar tower emits a pulse, the mountains cause part of the pulse to reflect back to the tower. When the tower picks up these reflections, they register on the screen on the right. Now we see how a radar tower tracks a moving object. We see how every time the radar pulse hits the jet, a portion is reflected back. The radar display on the right shows the path of the jet. If we fast forward the animation, we can see how a jet being tracked in real time would appear. This is what a radar screen looks like with lots of reflections. See how difficult it is to track the moving object through all that clutter? To solve this problem, we use the Doppler effect, which is the change in frequency of the radar wave when it encounters a moving object. When the pulse hits the stationary tank, it reflects back at the same frequency. However, when the pulse hits the jet as it is moving away, it reflects back with a lower frequency. Finally, as the jet returns, the pulse is reflected back with a higher frequency because the jet is moving towards the tower. All we need to do is add a filter to the radar receiver that eliminates returning pulses with an unchanged frequency. When a pulse returns with a changed frequency, it is allowed through the filter and onto the display. So now when we are tracking the jet on the radar, we only get the moving object with none of the clutter.
Talk about understanding what goes on in a weather map. So first we've got cold air, and as it pushes further to the south, along the leading edge of where that cold air is advancing is where we would set up a cold front. And that's going to be this blue line here with all these triangles, and they point in the direction the cold front is moving. Now on the other side, we have a warm front. When you have a mass of warm air moving northward, or in any direction, the leading edge of that warm air mass is where we draw this warm front, which is going to be the little red line with the half circles. The best way to remember it is they're like little half suns, so they're always denoting warmer air. You kind of work it out that way, where sun, warmth, warm front, right like that. So that's how we denote where a warm front lays. Now when we start moving and adding in things like pressure systems, we have a low pressure system right here. And air around a low pressure system moves counterclockwise and inward. So when we start putting those air masses around that area of low pressure, we begin to see just a few things happening here. The warm air surging northward, that's where the warm front is. The cold front surging southward, that's where we line up that cold front. And then when we zoom in closer, where we get all the precipitation, what's going to happen here is you've got this air coming down from the north and this air kind of going towards the north and east. What happens is this piles up as it gets close to this warm air mass and it starts to lift. So where these meet, all that wind meets, we call that convergence, the meeting of air. And when it happens, it starts to go, it has nowhere to go, so it has to go up. And once that starts going up, that's where we start to get clouds and rain. And usually along the cold frontal side of a storm is where we'll see things like thunderstorms. But on the warm frontal side, over to the north, That's where we'll start to see just broad areas of rain and showers and cloudiness. And as that comes through, well, the weather gets a little bit cooler. Now, high pressure, a little bit different. High pressure systems, air goes clockwise and outwards from an area of high pressure. So why don't we ever see any rain or anything near an area of high pressure? Well, when you have all of this air moving outwards, it's actually like if you were going to turn the hose right on the ground. What happens is that water goes down and it spreads out. You don't have any lift, so you don't have anything to create that upflow of moisture to create any precipitation. So usually when we talk about high pressure, we talk about nice weather. But let's take a look at what your forecast is looking like as we go through the next couple of days. We're going to be looking at a little bit of rain. We've got a couple of fronts to the south. Here's our warm front. See the red with the half circles. That's going to come northward, and we're going to see a little bit of rain in eastern and central North Carolina as these low pressure systems and their cold fronts and warm fronts move along the eastern seaboard. Then by Wednesday, we'll see maybe a little bit of rain in Raleigh, but it quickly moves out and we start to see some high pressure move in. How do we know? Well, we don't see any weather going on here by Thursday, and that'll stay the same even as we head into Friday. Things kind of clear out, but the next weather system comes on in and we start to see some rain heading in portions of western Tennessee and portions of Mississippi. So here's what comes up for Raleigh over the next 5 days. We've got rain on Wednesday and a little bit cooler, notice, as we get that cold front to come through. It brings that rain, 48 degrees. Then we warm up and high pressure moves in. We get sunny conditions and our temperatures kind of get back into the middle 50s. Then we get really nice by Sunday with a temperature of 63 degrees.
This morning, they're fading very quickly. We're only looking at a few isolated showers out in Highland and Adams County. Elsewhere, we're actually picking up some fog and lower visibility. You can see that as you look into downtown this morning from our rooftop here at Gilbert Avenue, 55 degrees. What's happening is we've got all this moisture now on the ground. More than an inch of rain for a lot of places fell yesterday, some even up to 2 inches of rain. And that is now low level moisture and we get the fog. So I would anticipate Chopper 9 probably not flying today because of that low visibility. 50 right now in Oxford, 54 in Madeira. Batavia comes in this morning at 54, and as we zoom out, I've got Bryansburg at 61. Cooler to the north, though. You can see where that cold front's finally bringing in some of those cooler temperatures. Wilmington only comes in at 50. So for today's temperature trend, it is going to be a cooler day when it's all said and done. Yesterday we hit 82. Today we're only making it up to 69 degrees. Here's the catch about today. The bulk of your workday is completely dry. When we'll start to have to really start monitoring those storms is around 8 o'clock tonight for some storms developing ahead of the main line and then really tracking the stronger stuff as we get closer to midnight. But this morning, I mean, it's just an isolated concern as you head out the door. It's more about this lower visibility. Through lunchtime, staying dry, mostly cloudy. This afternoon, though, you'll notice a few breaks in the clouds. That is energy that's building ahead of the storms that will be in for later on tonight. So we'll get a little sunshine today. Then this evening, here you start to see that slight chance for rain as we head between 6 and 8 p.m. But this is the main line. This will be the storm area, the wave of storms that has more of a punch with some large hail, damaging wind gust potential, more of those downpours. This model, at least this morning, is showing it after 10 o'clock. We could see it here as early as 10 p.m. and then pushing across the greater Cincinnati out to the east. This showing it off to our east by 2 a.m. This will become an active tracking situation where the timing on this is going to adjust a little bit. But what you need to know is that the better chance of our strongest storms will be on later this evening. I'm talking especially after 9 p.m. And Allie, thankfully this is actually going to bode well for our drive times, but this morning it's a little foggy out there.
Plan that out appropriately. Would not want to be playing any sport really outside today. We are seeing that heavy rain this morning. Temperature wise, it's actually still pretty mild. We're sitting at 50 degrees right now in Eugene, which is actually 4 degrees cooler than we were just a few hours ago. Those temperatures dropping quickly, and you can see just up I-5 in Portland down into the low 40s at this hour, now down into the upper 30s in Bend. We're also in the mid 40s here overnight. So that chilly Arctic air mass making its way down from the north. In terms of rainfall, it has been heavy here overnight. That heaviest band of precipitation now pushing into southern Lane County across Douglas County. Seeing that changing over to snow across the Cascade Passes, and we'll continue to see that rain making its way down from the north. Now as we head into the central and northern Willamette Valley, you're not done with the rainfall. It's just transitioned into scattered showers, which which will now continue for the remainder of the evening. Very impressive rainfall totals most of this overnight, about half of an inch in Eugene, over an inch in Corvallis, and an inch there in Newport. North Bend picking over a third, and again, we'll continue to add to these throughout the day. And all this water standing out there on the roadways, as Grace showed you earlier, you do want to take it nice and slow. So the heaviest band of precipitation is right ahead of that cold front, and that's what is now starting to push down into southern Oregon. But the coldest air comes in behind the cold front, and that's what is on the way. The low pressure center itself is going to move right down western Washington and then western Oregon as we head into this evening. By tomorrow morning, this is all going to be wrapped up and will just be dry, but very chilly. You can see that here on Stormcast. Again, the purple here is snow across higher elevations, the yellow heavy rain, and the green is rain. And as we head into this afternoon, you see it quickly transitions to those scattered showers, which sticks with us into this afternoon. But that snow level starts to drop. Now we're not seeing snow only at the pass, but all the way down into those higher foothills, including parts of the Coast Range. Mary's Peak and down in Douglas County, seeing some snow showers there. And again, those will continue late tonight. Early tomorrow morning, that snow level does continue to drop by 6:30 a.m. down close to the valley floor. But at that point, there's just not much precipitation left. So it's going to be very close whether or not we see any of those snow flurries to the valley floor. So again, we're going to continue to see those temperatures falling today. That snow level right now at about the pass level. By noon, that'll drop to 3,000 feet, down to 2,000 by 5 p.m. And then again on down to the valley floor by about 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. Now, in terms of how much snow we're going to see again, the most is obviously going to be up near the ski resorts. By 3:45 tonight, you can see they're already over 6 inches there at the ski resorts. But starting to see snow falling down to the foothills as well. That snow level getting lower and lower as we head into the overnight hours. Coast Range picking up some snow. Cobra Hills will as well. And by tomorrow morning, ski resorts will likely see 6 to 12 inches of snow, 4 to 8 there at the passes, and down into those higher foothills around 2,000 feet. So McKenzie Bridge and up 1 to 3 inches for you, and then a dusting possible for the valley floor early tomorrow morning. Otherwise, for the coast, again, those temperatures falling throughout the day. You already hit the low 50s. You'll fall to the mid 30s by late tonight. Also quite breezy, and you'll see those scattered showers through this evening. The Umpqua Basin seeing those temperatures falling throughout the day to the mid 30s overnight. Scattered showers off and on. Winds will hold from the northwest, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Breezy across the mountains. We are going to see those wind gusts up to about 40 miles per hour. So that rain already changing to snow this morning. Could be some blowing snow as well. Temperatures fall to the low 20s tonight. McKenzie Bridge likely seeing some snow early tomorrow morning. Oak Ridge will be right on the border there. Could see just again less than an inch by early tomorrow morning. Central Oregon also seeing that rain changing over to snow later on today. Not expecting more than an inch for you. And the valley seeing those temperatures falling again. Rain showers off and on all day. And then we all dry out. It just gets very chilly. So temperatures along the coast falling to the low 40s here by midweek. Mid-20s overnight. The Umpqua Basin, you'll see your temperatures falling to the mid-30s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, down into the low to mid-20s overnight. And for the Cascade Passes, very chilly, dropping to the low 20s during the day, single digits overnight, but again dry starting Tuesday afternoon. And for the Willamette Valley, we'll see those temperatures continue to drop as well, freezing for high temperatures by Thursday. Overnight, we'll see our temperatures dropping down to the teens and low 20s, but again, it will be dry from Tuesday morning all the way through Sunday.
Accurate, dependable. Fox 23 News this morning has weather first.
Andrew WK joining us here with the weather.
Hello, everybody. As you can see, it's a beautiful clear sky. This is a great. You got one building here, you got another building here. Now, both of these buildings are going to remain there throughout the day, okay? I think you're going to be pleased. We can take a look now at the temperature forecast. You got 71 up in Ponca City, you got 72 in Bartlesville, and you got 71 in Coleyville. Now, what's going to happen around the rest of the area is a basic 70s realm. We have a large gray cloud scooping down. You want to watch out for that. This is looks essentially like a pan. You see this? There's a little green in there. Don't mind that. It's not slime. It's just a little alien invasion there. Now we're going to take you up to the ditch. Now these red arrows indicate a large southerly wind warming its way through. So you're going to bring up the winds. Bring up the winds. Now bring up the winds. Now and finally. breeze. If you point your face down that way, the breeze is going to hit you up there. If you want to have your wind at the back, you kind of stay like that. And then finally, there's a storm that's going to be coming down here. You can see just now these small blue arrows represent sharp teeth of a blue dragon. Shark's mouth, and the shark's beak comes down. It creates a thunderstorm with that red arrow, and this is how weather works. So if you've ever wondered, and finally we have 96, 96, and 92. Now Saturday's a beautiful day. Today is Friday. Sunday is the day that comes after Saturday, and then you have Mother Week works. This is something I learned.
Awesome, awesome. Andrew WK. Oh, awesome stuff. Awesome. And by the way, on the cold fronts, those are actually called teeth.
Those are called teeth.
They are called teeth.
Wow. This is cool.
Very cool indeed. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
and
you.
I'm going to give it back to you, Ann.
Let me see if I can.
Well, Lewis and Andrea, I certainly didn't expect the predictions of snow to come true.
You know, I didn't either, Jesse. We had a pretty decent weekend. Louis Fidelman is in right now with weather. Maybe, Louis, you can tell us what we can expect for the rest of the week.
Well, these bad things just blow in. The temperature in Athens is 37 degrees, and there's a current wind temperature, a westward direction, 7 miles per hour. The barometer is at 29 and 95 in growing, and the humidity stands at 79 degrees, and you can see a clear visibility at 1.8 miles. Okay, in Athens, the temperature, as I said before, is 37 degrees, and you could clearly see a straight shoot in a northwest direction, with Columbus standing at 37 degrees and Cleveland at 32 degrees, and Toledo is at 37, and going over to a national radar, there's a cold front coming in with the rain coming near West Virginia, and it's passing over by the Ohio area, and moving on to our state radar, we can see that there's a slight buildup near the Athens area, and satellite. Okay, today on a pretty quick on our 4-day forecast, we have a high chance of snow and possible snow on Tuesday, and partially cloudy on Wednesday, and chance of snow on Thursday. And so far it looks like it's going to be very cold.
Thanks, Lewis. I sure wish it were warmer.
I do too, Jesse, but you know, with colder temperatures on the way, it might be a good idea to stay indoors. Take a look at our community calendar for some activities inside.